Hello, welcome to another great edition here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. There's a lot to unpack for you. I'm going to tell you of the replacements that Chelsea have lined up for Mauricio Pochettino. I mean, in the last video, it looks like if almost every Chelsea fan in the stream, almost every Chelsea fan in here agrees that maybe it's time for Mauricio Pochettino to take a bow from the club. Maybe he's just not good enough as a manager. Maybe he has to go. And then it looks as if everybody then agrees. But who is going to replace Pochettino when he goes? I think that's the bigger question. The bigger question as to who replaces Mauricio Pochettino. There have been reports today from Sports Guide in Germany that's saying that Baghdad Bali fancies Xavi Alonso so much that they are looking at contacting him. There is also the name of Hansi Flick possibly, and there is also Julian Nagelsmann possibly after the Euros. There is the games that have been played today. We'll do a post-match analysis of all of that for you that we'll get into. But just before we get into that, my name is Fiifi-Manfred. This is Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you've not, pause the video, go back, subscribe to the channel, turn on notification. Here we go into all the analysis. So let's start from the first game that went on today. Arsenal playing at home to Liverpool. That was a big game. Very, very big game. And see, you watch the Arsenal game against Liverpool, and then you understand the difference between football tactics on the tactical board and then the case of execution. So it is the same principles, the same tactical play where Arsenal went into their game. I mean, they had Jorginho, Declan Rice at the base. So Arsenal went into a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, anyhow you want to call it, and I'll describe that for you. So they essentially had Gabriel Magalhaes, William Saliba, Kirill, and then Ben White. Very good duellers at the back. The kind of centre backs that can go into battle for Arsenal, win duels, win second balls at the back, have the height to control the game on and off the ball. Usually when the game gets scrappy, and for big games like this, it was always going to be scrappy. Now, he threw in a little surprise to everybody when he brought on Jorginho in the middle of the park, because there was no Alexander Zinchenko to help him build up from the side where Kiel was, and there was no Thomas Partey. So you bring in Jorginho, but then you have Declan Rice next to him to deal with the loose balls, to shadow him, to give him that protective cover on the ball, so that when he is being pressed, Declan Rice can help in that regard. Now that formed the base of the two-man midfield in terms of a box midfield. Then up top, he had Odegaard, and then Kai Havertz was starting as a false number 9, but essentially he dropped into central areas a lot of the times. Now that's the trick. When anytime Arsenal had the ball, they were able to form the box midfield, and the box midfield essentially had Kai Havertz, had Martin Odegaard, had at the base Declan Rice, had Jorginho. Now, when they had a box midfield, they were able to dominate Liverpool's central areas. But what that also did was that it put either of Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate in two thoughts as to if they are supposed to follow Kai Havertz deep into the middle of the park, or if they are supposed to stay high and wide. Now, you know that Liverpool's fullbacks will usually go and do the overlapping runs, go and attack every time. So when they did, the wingers, Martinelli and Xhaka, will keep the width. Once they keep the width, now it puts even the centre backs more into a confused state as to who to mark, when to go and mark, when not to go and mark, and that really brought about Arsenal's first goal. Kai Havertz dropping, getting runners to get in behind him, getting defenders to follow him in central areas, Saka keeping the width for him, and then there was a gaping space between the Liverpool centre backs. He attacked it brilliantly, got onto the end of it, failed to finish the ball, but Bukayo Saka with the final lead ran into the box, got the job done, and Arsenal were up. Yes, they did some mistakes, and I think that in terms of winning intensity, Arsenal were notches higher than Liverpool in that game that they played against Liverpool at the Emirates, and that's exactly where Arsenal are in terms of controlling games. And it was a big game because Arsenal came into this game knowing that if they lose, they are going to be 8 points away from Liverpool. But if they won, they cut it all short to 2 points. And 2 points, it's easy. I mean, Liverpool have Man City to play. Liverpool have other tricky games to play. Newcastle and the likes, they have these tricky games to play. And they know that once they keep on winning their games, they just don't have to worry about anybody. They hope that they can get the results. And that's exactly what they did. And in the second goal, where Gabriel Martinelli was even instrumental, a lot of people are speaking about Virgil van Dijk's defense. I don't think there was anything wrong with it. They're the kind of defenders that are more passive. That's defender space. That doesn't just walk into tackles. And again, Virgil walks into the tackle, walks into close into Trossard, and the other attackers, the other defenders will close in to I mean, to close the chain. They will not want to break the chain. Now he doesn't, and that's exactly what the other player Kai Havertz was catered for. I think that's just the brilliance of Trossard, and then some luck where the ball hit Virgil van Dijk's boots and then took a ricochet, went into in between the legs of Alisson, and then Arsenal were up by 3-1. I think it was brilliant display from Arsenal. They controlled the game. They were very good with and without the ball. They were excellent in their own patches. When they had to go into duels, they were very good with their duels. Saliba, Magalhaes, Kyrgios, Ben White were very, very good with and without the ball. And I think that's one of the best Arsenal games I've seen this season. They totally had a game by the scruff of its neck. They had a lot of intensity as well. Maybe because they were playing at the Emirates, in exactly that to, tear Liverpool apart. And this one game where you see the importance of Kai Havertz in big games, like constantly said that he's difficult to control as a false nine, especially in big games. It's very, very difficult to control where you leave small spaces, the depth touches. That's where Kai Havertz is exceptional at. And Arsenal got that all important win for themselves. Then we went into another big game. Again, let me talk about the Manchester United game first. Manchester United playing against West Ham United. After that win against Wolverhampton, United knew that they needed to build momentum, keep on winning games consistently. Players like Kobbie Mainoo, Alejandro Garnacho, and Rasmus Hojlund have shown that they were very good players, very good young players in the team. And Erik ten Hag had to get consistency. Also, the return of Leandro Martinez, Luke Shaw, Casemiro really did help the team, right? And I kept on saying that when United have the full flesh of the squad, Leandro Martinez, Casemiro, Luke Shaw, it helps a lot in terms of the build-up, especially from the left-hand side. And you could see very well. And this wasn't even a game where Kobbie Mainoo was excellent, but you could tell that he had a very good foothold on the game. And United tend to be going. This is something I've said consistently. You've gotten that all-important win against West Ham United to build some momentum. Now, to the Italian Serie A, where, oh boy, I think that in world football currently, if you want a team that is excellent in build-up, excellent in defending, and I think that Simeone Inzaghi has just honed the team that reads the game so well. They know when to press high, when to be in a mid-block, when to sit in a low block. And when it comes to build-up, the late runs from Henrik Mkhitaryan from deep into central areas, come and receive the ball, just touch and then move back up. Same for Hakan Çalhanoğlu. That's a lot, even when you want to press them high. With Acerbi, Bastoni, Pavard, excellent players on the ball. Maybe less when you talk about someone like Acerbi, but then Pavard and Bastoni are very excellent. Now, when it becomes difficult, that's when they use the side of Federico Di Marco, who pushes up as a fullback. Or even for Alejandro Bastoni. Federico Di Marco pushes very high and wide. And Alejandro Bastoni will just play like a fullback. Then they will have Acerbi and Pavard as the two centre backs. Then Darmian plays as an outside fullback also on the other side. Now that helps a lot because they have four. Then Barella will drop into the middle of the park. He does that quickly with just daft touches. Then you will see every time that quickly Henrik Mkhitaryan and of course Hakan Çalhanoğlu will drop into the middle of the park, combine play and then move up. Then they will unleash Federico Di Marco, and it tells you how much of a good team Internazionale Milan are. When it comes to duels, they are there. When it comes to winning the duels, everything, every facet of the game, they seem to be a very, very good. And I think that Inter have done an excellent job via Beppe Marotta and the job he has done as sporting director of the club. Himself and Javier Zanatti, they've been excellent. Squad profile and getting the kind of players, the squad up 10 has been so good. Everything that they've done has been just spot on in everything that they do. And you look at players like Marcus Thuram and what he gives the team, and you feel that, wow, this is a team that we're not going to get Lukaku. They say, okay, I'm going to get an option in Marcus Thuram. Thuram comes and joins Lautaro Martinez. Lautaro comes, they combine, and they are getting the job. And that own goal today actually came from a Marcus Thuram pressure. And he was so good with and without the ball. And that's exactly, and they are there in the Italian Serie A. They've increased the space, the points gap between themselves and Juventus, and they know that they can go very far in winning the Scudetto this time. And everything seems to be going well for Internazionale Milan. Then came the big one in the Spanish La Liga, where Real Madrid were good. You look at the Madrid backline and look at the goal they conceded, and you can understand that the importance of somebody like Rudiger, Militao, and even Alaba at the back. When you have two centre backs, you are not your regular centre backs playing out for you at the back. You're definitely, and you're playing against a team like Atletico de Madrid, you're definitely going to have issues in terms of aerial balls and aerial duels. And you look at the kind of centre backs that Madrid started with, and you ask yourself, how many teams can go into games like of this nature? Start with, Nacho as a centre back and Carvajal as the two centre backs, with Lucas Vazquez as full back, and then Fiifi-Manfred, so imbalanced at the back line. But then again, it is the quality of Carlo Ancelotti and the functionality of his play and getting the best out of his teams that's always telling. Lunin in goal, Vazquez, Carvajal, Nacho, Fiifi-Manfred, and then of course the middle of the pack was Cruz, Camavinga, Cruz, Fede Valverde, Jude Bellingham, then Rodrigo Goes, and then Diaz. Diaz got that all important goal. That 4-1-2-1-2, clogging central areas, but also transiting quickly through central areas and getting the job done for them. But it's the goal they consider against Atletico de Madrid that tells you exactly the importance of Rudiger, Militao, and that's Madrid centre backs. That win would have been good for them because the next game is the one against Girona. But it's just a draw. They got to 1 point more. Yesterday, Girona also drew against Real Sociedad. If they had won, it would have increased the gap even further. But just a draw this time, it's not bad for Madrid. It keeps them at par going into that game against Girona at the Estadio Santiago de Bernabeu. So that's just a quick rundown of all of the games that has gone on. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. If you've not subscribed to the channel, I entreat you to do so. But finally, it looks as if Chelsea, the rumors are coming in. There looks to be concrete. Matt Law and the likes look like possibly Chelsea are looking for manager possible replacement for Mauricio Pochettino in the summer. I think that shouldn't be now. I think that should be in the summer. I speak to the likes of Xavi Alonso, speak to Hansi Flick, speak to Julian Nagelsmann. Look down into the project. Who do you have from there? I would love to have Nagelsmann after the Euros. What do you think? Which manager do you think should come if Mauricio Pochettino is gone? And then after that, let's look at all the post-match analysis of all the games. Thank you very much for having me. My name is Fiifi-Manfred.